Good morning, everybody. So for this week's video, I want to talk about letters and notices from the IRS and pretty much any government in general. So it could be a local city government, it could be your state government, and it could be the IRS. Now, my opinion of letters, always really what you should do, don't even read them and send them, take a picture of them, text them to me, scan them, send them to me in email. Now when you send them to me, I'll take a quick look at them, give you a quick response, and then I usually send it to my email so that I address it next time I'm at my computer. Anyway, that's how I handle them, and then they go into the workflow, and I eventually respond to the actual letter, depending on priority. But the letters from governments, they like to use words that are scary, and really they are using fear mongering to try to get you to be compliant to what they think is correct. Now these letters, the only way you're going to avoid letters from a government is to be a standard W-2 employee and file your taxes by April 15th every year with no deductions. You like literally you just have a W-2 and that's it. So being a business owner, you are going to get letters, period. And I have seen a exponential increase in the number of letters in the last 2 years. And that stems from a couple of things. One, it comes from the IRS being shut down during COVID. So they were shut down for about 2 years straight. And the backlog that was created by that shutdown, they still haven't recovered from. And that backlog, so these letters are generated by a computer, put through the mailing process and sent out through the U.S. Postal Service without any human input at all. No one's looking at your account. No one's looking to see if I have responded to it. Nothing, no human interaction whatsoever. A computer system says there's an amount due on your account. Here's a letter. And then they use scary words like, we're going to increase interest. You're going to continue to accrue interest every month until this is paid. We're going to put a lien on your property. Basically, they're using fear-mongering tactics to get you to be compliant and just pay the bill. And a lot of people do. And personally, these letters are extortion. That's how I feel about them. I feel like these letters are extortion. They are literally sending out letters for things that were filed and filed on time, and I have evidence of it, that the IRS lost, didn't process, or they have some sort of error on your account. And I'm seeing more and more of this over the last 2 years. And then it's significantly increasing the number of letters. So, like I said, the best thing you can do with these letters and these notices is to just take a picture of it, scan it, and email it to me, and I will address them. The issue, so really what's happening with these letters, I'm going to look at a couple of things. One, I'm going to say, yeah, this is wrong, but how much are they telling you you owe? And is paying me to actually respond and put together the case files to respond to this letter worth it to you? So for example, Texas will send out a lot of letters that are for $50, and I can respond to them and get that $50 forgiven, but you're going to owe me $50 to $100 to do that, because I'm going to have to put together the evidence, type up the response, look into your account, and put time into it. So, small amounts, I'm just going to say pay them. And the larger amounts, I'll say, hey, okay, I'm going to put about a half hour into this, gathering all the information, all the case files, printing it off, and then I certify mail everything, right? Because that creates a specific paper trail. And that costs money too. That costs money for me. So I'm putting time and money into these things, and there are days that I'll do $200 worth of certified mailing because I have so many letters I'm responding to, and each one of them requires about a half hour at a time, and then weighing them and putting them in the mail and with a tracking number. But when I respond to them, when I'm actually fighting them, very, very rarely does the IRS not accept it. I'm actually kind of getting to the opinion that the IRS probably doesn't even read my letters. They look at it and see it's a response from an attorney or a CPA, and they just probably go, hey, they've pushed back on it, let's forgive it. Because 90, like I don't want to guarantee it. I can't ever guarantee what the IRS is doing. I wished I could. I have no control over the IRS. They're not even following their own laws. And I've seen this specifically, right? They're violating their own regulations. For example, I will send in an extension, and I think it's common knowledge that when you mail something to the IRS, it's based on the postmark date. So literally you put it in your mailbox, you go down to the post office, and the post office stamps it with the date that the post office received it. That is the date that the IRS has to accept, because it is no longer in your hands. And so if you postmark a tax return or an extension that is due on April 15th, and you postmark it April 15th, then the IRS, even though they might not read that tax return for 3 months, has to mark it as accepted as April 15th, so you're not charged a late penalty. I have literally gotten letters from the IRS through clients where I have filed an extension the day before the due date, and it's printed right on the extension saying received by IRS March 14th, when the due date for a corporate tax return is March 15th. So they literally have printed that on the paper. And then 3 months later, somebody actually looks at the extension, stamps it. Oh, I'm reading it now, June 15th. It's denied because it was filed late, when it's printed right on the document, received by IRS March 14th. They kick it back. They send a letter that says, we rejected your extension because it was received by the IRS after the due date. When they have it printed on the very document that they're sending us, they're violating their own regulations. Like, they don't even know what they're doing. And that's why I'm calling it extortion, is because either they're stupid or they are literally extorting people to make more money for the government. And I don't know which is worse. I really don't. It's not political. It's not anything. Like I don't know which one's worse. Are they literally that stupid that they don't know their own regulations, or are they literally trying to extort people to just pay because people think it costs more money to fight it? And that's like, sometimes that's the answer. Just pay it because it's cheaper to pay it than to pay me or an attorney to fight it. But I have documentation, and so I keep meticulous records. We keep proof of e-files. I've had e-files. I got acceptance of e-files, and then I get letters from the IRS saying, hey, you didn't file on time. I did. I have a confirmation that you accepted the e-file of the extension. And so I have to put all this information together. I send it off to the IRS, and 99.9% of the time it gets forgiven, because there's a little bit of pushback and I have the evidence. And so what I'm saying is you run a business, expect scary letters from the government. It's going to happen. It's guaranteed it's going to happen, regardless of who the president is, what's going on. It is the IRS's job to make money for the federal government. Well, the IRS is broken. They're underfunded, they're understaffed, and their computer system is overwhelmed. For example, now I'm not an IT guy, and I know this isn't the exact way things work. This is a very simplistic view. But if there are about 1 billion tax returns filed every year, if you take into account partnerships, corporations, and individual taxes, then we have W-2s, letters, extensions, a whole bunch of other stuff that's filed on top of that stuff, right? But if you just look at tax returns, and if every return is e-filed, and it takes the IRS's computer system a half a second to process a tax return, that means it would take the IRS 35 years to process 1 year's worth of tax returns. Now, granted, they have multiple computer systems processing. Some of them take less than a half a second, and some of them take more than a half a second. Depends on how complicated the return is. But then you also have millions and millions of paper filed tax returns. So that means it comes in the mail or a fax. Somebody has to put their eyeballs on it, look at it, scan it into the system, and then it gets processed by the system that way too. And so there's a whole bunch of different factors here. And the IRS is still processing tax returns from 2019 and 2020 today. Like the last thing I read was that they were still about 3 million tax returns behind. So they are broken and they are very behind, and they're going to continue to send letters. And so unless you are just a standard W-2 employee filing a very basic 1040 and it's filed by April 15th every year, expect to get letters. And don't read them. You can read them if you want to. They're going to scare you. That's what they do. They scare you into compliance, and I call it extortion. I mean, it's the exact same thing the mafia does. You borrow money from the mafia and they scare you, they beat you, and they extort you into compliance. And I feel like the IRS is doing the same thing. They might not actually show up and beat you, but they could put you in handcuffs and scare you that way. So don't read the letters. Take a picture of it, scan it, and forward it straight to me. I'll take a look at it, give you a quick response. And if there's options, I'll tell you, hey, these are what my thoughts of the options are, and here's what each option is probably going to cost in terms of my time, in terms of taxes, whatever, right? And then you get to pick the option that you want to do. Or like a lot of them, I know it's going to take me a half hour to respond, which is about $100 of time to put together the response, the actual letter that I type up to send to them, and then the evidence that I have of filing everything on time. And then it will get forgiven. It'll take the IRS 6 months to a year to read the letter. You'll probably get multiple letters saying, oh, we received your response dated whatever, give us another 30 days or 60 days to read it. And then in that 60 days, they'll send you another letter that says, hey, we have your response. Give us another 90 days to respond to it. Like these are letters I'm seeing all the time, is they are so behind that it takes them 6 months to open the mail. Then when they finally open it, they immediately send a response that says, hey, yeah, we have it, give us some more time. And then they send you another response that says, hey, we have it, give us some more time. And then eventually you'll get the letter saying, hey, yep, we've forgiven this. And honestly, I don't think I've had more than 1 or 2 people in the last 5 years that have actually paid penalties. And one of them was to a city in Ohio. All the cities, or most of the cities, charge city income tax. And it was to the one paid to a city because it was going to be cheaper to just pay it than hire an attorney to fight it, because it had gotten to that level. Even though I still feel like that was complete extortion. They literally charged him just enough that it was cheaper to pay it than fight it, even though he didn't owe it. And I had proof of it. And then I think I've had one letter get kicked back saying they didn't accept my reasoning for why the penalties should be forgiven, merely because there was other stuff outstanding. All the stuff that was outstanding had been filed. I had proof of it. And the penalty that they were charging had absolutely nothing to do with those things outstanding. So it was just another way of the government trying to extort payment. And I disagreed with it. I definitely sent them all the evidence. I sent them everything again. And hopefully it gets forgiven. That one's still sitting in limbo. But over the last 5 years, that's like the two of hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of letters that I've responded to. Two have ended up in actual, one that's actually been paid, and it was to a city government, and one it's still kind of in limbo. I don't know if it will actually get forgiven yet. I'm about 90% certain it will, because I have everything that they've requested for, and it's all errors on the IRS. Anyway, so please, I'm addressing this because I'm getting a lot of flack. People, It doesn't matter what CPA you go to, doesn't matter what tax attorney you go to. If you have a business, you're going to get nasty grams from the IRS and from governments because they are broken, and it's their computer system sending these. I mean, you can blame me, you can fire me, you can move to somebody else. The letters won't go away. They'll just keep coming. And I see, I say that because I've gotten some flack. I've gotten quite a bit of flack because of these letters, and it's not just one or two clients. It's a daily basis. Why am I getting these letters? It's literally, you're getting them because the IRS is broken, and they're not processing stuff that's filed. And when I go to continuing ed and I'm in a room with 200 other CPAs, they're all saying the same thing. Everybody's saying the same thing. The IRS is broken, and we're getting so sick of these letters. And in the last 2 years, exponentially. I used to not charge to respond to these letters because it was a one-off thing here and there, maybe one a month. But now it's 5 or 6 a day or more. And everybody's getting them. I get them on myself, and I respond to them. It's just it's just a broken government. A broken system that would take an entire overhaul to fix, and the federal government can't afford to do that. And so they keep throwing money at a broken system, but they don't throw enough to actually fix it. And this problem isn't going away. It's just going to continue to get worse because, like I said, they're behind every year. COVID just made it worse. And they're never going to catch up from that. So expect letters. Just send them to me. That's why you hired me, and I will tell you what to do. Please don't shoot the messenger. I've lost clients over these things, and that's fine. I mean, ultimately, that's fine. It doesn't hurt my feelings. I feel bad for you because if you're not going to get it resolved. But anyway, again, don't worry about the letters. You're going to get them. Just forward them to me. The IRS is scary. I know they are. They use mean words, and they threaten. And at this point, I literally am calling them the mafia. They're extorting. They're breaking the law. They're violating their own regulations. So just keep that in mind. I think I've pretty much beat this dead horse enough. I hope this alleviates stress. That's what I hope I'm doing. I hope I'm alleviating your stress by saying, don't worry about the letters. Send them to me and I'll address them. I have to charge time for them now merely because there's so many of them. And I hate doing that, but I have to, or I'd go broke because I'd be spending all my time on free work now. But it's nothing I have control over. It's the IRS. And I don't even literally, I don't even think anybody wants to run on a platform of overhauling the IRS because that's more government spending and nobody wants to vote on that, right? So I don't even know if you can contact your local representatives to address this issue. It's probably not even worth it. It's just a broken system that's what we're stuck dealing with, and we just do our best. And it's just a risk and cost of owning a business. And I'm sure everyone's heard this. Everyone probably knows this. Owning a business and being your own boss is hard because the entire world wants to beat you back into the cookie cutter box that they want you to be in. And that is a 9-to-5 W-2 employee paying the same tax as everyone else. And it's my goal in life to make sure that doesn't happen. But this is just another example of business risk, ulcers, and stress that keeps you awake at night because you've got a nasty, scary letter from the IRS because you're a business owner. Ignore it. Take a picture of it, text it to me, email it to me, and I'll get to it. It's not your job to worry about that. You go worry about your client's stuff. I worry about my client's stuff within realms of the tax world, right? So anyway, I hope this is helpful, and I hope it alleviates stress, because that's really what I'm going for here is I'm just trying to help you deal with a broken governmental agency. anyway, if I'm trying to do these on a weekly basis, the idea here is that I'm charging $200 an hour, and a lot of times I get the same questions over and over again. And so I'm hoping to save you having to schedule a specific call with me. So if you, excuse me, if you have a specific topic that you have questions about, I'm looking for topics. Email me a topic and I'll make a movie on it. And I'm probably at some point I'm going to make a YouTube channel too, and start posting these on YouTube instead of just directly to clients. Anyway, have a wonderful day, and I really do hope this is beneficial for somebody.